Welcome to Turtle Talk. This is Morgan's story and the family's journey. I'm Craig, and
I'm Michelle. Welcome.
welcome back. We were talking about some wins with swallowing and food and getting rid of the feeding tube, or transitioning, doing a swallowing test.
Doing a swallowing
Yeah,
test.
that was the major thing.
Yes, she still has a G tube in her stomach that they could, administer meds and feed her and stuff. But now we're trying to do the oral eating,
Yep.
which of course, I created a little chaos.
Yep.
Nothing like watching everyone panic, because you're doing something you shouldn't
Right.
be doing. But it's okay. It needed to be done. If I felt like if we didn't push the issue, that nobody was in a big hurry to motivate to that direction,
Right.
right? Like I said, though, her speech therapist both of them were amazing at helping us accomplish these goals, and we would talk to them. But there's also a team meeting that goes on.
Are you involved in the team meeting?
Well, mind you, now we had a really bad experience
Right.
at the trauma hospital.
Yep.
So team meetings are pretty nerve-wracking,
Right.
for us, because in our experience, the team meeting was pretty negative. When we did go to one, it was also the same thing.
Pretty negative.
It was negative, like not high hopes, not big expectations,
Kind of
more insurance driven than anything. And so it had gotten to the point where, they had said, well, you'd be up to date on the insurance things and this stuff and that stuff if you come to the team meetings. And I said, well, this is not good. And mind you, I had told the insurance lady to leave us alone.
Right.
And we asked the attorneys to be the mediator. You report to them, they can report to us. Let's put a buffer between us.
Right.
Because I don't like the admin people, they don't like me. And we are oil and water. So now I'm supposed to go to a team meeting where at this point, we're a good month into this, month and a half into this, and I'm really feeling like everything is money driven.
That's a bad feeling to have.
It is a bad feeling to have. Not that there wasn't high expectations for Morgan. Not that they weren't doing everything they could possibly do. But it felt like it was more what the insurance was driving than what the therapists were driving. Because there were things like the therapists would say, Morgan's really making great strides here. She's gaining ground. She's, she did this. She met her goals for the week that we set for her. So if she's meeting her goals, where's the disconnect? Because we know what the therapists are saying and feeling. But then on the other end of the spectrum, that's not what's happening. Like, we're getting this, well, insurance is not sure she can stay because she hasn't made enough gains. And we're like, wait a minute. We know what the therapists are saying over here. So I really felt like, at least in our situation, that the poor therapists were caught in the middle of this warfare of insurance driven, administration driven, and us. So I really got to give the therapist a lot of questions, a lot of kudos, because no matter what was happening in other realms, they still were really great with Morgan. We did have one therapist that so with a brain injury, you have to give processing time. Like you and I could say, Craig, what color is it? Is the sky? And you'd say,
blue.
Right? It's instant.
Yeah.
I say, Morgan, what color's the sky? And she's going to sit there for what feels like an eternity trying to process what I asked her but then process the answer. Okay. Which goes the same with mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a therapist that, Morgan, kick your leg. Morgan, kick your leg. Morgan, kick your leg. Morgan, kick your leg. And I said, wait a minute. I can see on her face that she's getting agitated, because her telltale sign for agitation was red face and just this anger look, like her ears would even get red when she got agitated. So somebody doing this to you over and over and over and over and over, Morgan, kick your leg, Morgan, kick your leg. And there's no allowance for processing. So this one therapist and I just did not get along well. And I said, why? Stop. You need to stop. Look at what you're doing to her. And she's like, well, she can't meet her goals if she can't kick her leg and kick the ball. And I said, okay, but you're not giving her any processing time, which is something all the other therapists here have told us about. Processing time. And I said, what if I sat here and did this to you? Well, you and I are talking. You'd be irritated, wouldn't you? Well, yeah. Well, obviously advocating for Morgan with her was not the right thing to do. And it ended up being a big fight, and I called her out on stuff she had said, and then she said, well, I never said that. And I said, well, we have recordings that show that you said that. And then it got ugly. So then now she goes and cries to administration because I was mean to her. Well, I wasn't mean to her. I'm saying, stop it. And I'm advocating for Morgan. My only concern, Tom's only concern, is Morgan. I don't give a shit if I hurt your feelings in protecting my daughter. I don't. To this day, I still don't. Yeah.
Like, she's the therapist. Be the professional. Fuck your feelings.
Right.
Oh, you're advocating and it hurt my feelings. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Right. So, back on it. Sorry.
So this therapist gets really upset and runs to administration. Then administration's in Morgan's room scolding me. Here again with the policy manual. I'm like, why don't you just give me the whole manual? I'll read it. Right? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
They're bringing me the videography policy. And I'm like, I have asked every single person before I recorded anything if I could record. No other therapist has had an issue. She didn't even have an issue.
Until now.
Because I was calling her out on her lies.
Yeah.
I was calling her out saying, stop it. I don't want this lady as Morgan's therapist ever again. I don't even want her in the same room with Morgan. Because that's how agitated Morgan was with what she was doing. Like, I wish they all could have been like her cute little dark-haired one, because, man, she was amazing for Morgan. She really was. There were a few therapists. I think there were like 3 that we just absolutely were oil and water with. The other 2, I just said, really, I don't want them again. And it was done. It was not an issue. But this one, oh, goodness gracious. That one, it was like intimidation. I don't know. She just, it's done. You're not her therapist anymore. It's done. Let's just go on to other things. Right? Go do your job. I'm going to keep taking care of Morgan. We don't even have to ever talk.
Right.
So that was frustrating. It was very frustrating. And it was even more frustrating that because of everything going on in the administrative part of it, that I felt like people knew we were having trouble with administration. So it would be quick to run there, so then administration would come and jump all over us.
Oh.
Right?
Pile on.
It was. It really was. I just, so between the insurance lady and the administration, and then, now mind you, we have this charge nurse for the day. And this woman, you know, I expect things done a certain way for Morgan. I expect her cares to be pretty much the same across the board, right? There's certain ways that we like things done. Like instead of using the hospital thermometer, we only use the ear thermometer I went and bought,
Yep.
right? Meds at a specific time, right? If it says take meds 12 hours apart, you don't give them at 7 in the morning and 11 at night,
Right.
right? Like we're trying to figure out what's going to work for her brain. And so, of course, if there was an issue, I'd have to go and tell her, hey, and then showering. Like, they only get showers twice a week. So I did not really like the lady who was doing the showers. I thought she was a little like abrasive and rough with Morgan. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to give Morgan all her showers, but I'll do it in the evening right before bed. So we're not disrupting anything else throughout the day. It's pretty quiet in the wing in the evening. I'm just going to give her a shower. Nobody has to do anything to help me. I'm just going to do it, right? Like this is not a big deal.
Policy manual.
Policy manual.
How did I know?
And then we get float nurses, and we had her nurses were amazing. Like she really had some amazing nurses, like the night charge nurse that would sit in her room with her. Nurses aides. Oh gosh, we had some really awesome ones. It seemed like the night crew was so relaxed and happy and fun to be around, and they just took such good care of Morgan. The day ones we didn't encounter much because we were in therapy all the time.
Right.
But the night ones that we had they were pretty awesome. They were really awesome for us. And I tell you, they even gave Morgan, this was hilarious. It was probably a good month in. And Morgan was responding more, like moving ahead or moving her eyes or just different things to stimulus, right? So they gave her this little pancake nurse call light.
Okay.
And they hooked it to her shirt here, and all she'd have to do is move her hand up and touch it, right? So she had fallen asleep, and Tom and I had left. And I think this started on a weekend because we were both there for some reason. We were both there. And so they put this little pancake light on, and about every 15 minutes, Morgan was hitting the nurse call light.
Okay.
Every 15 minutes. They go in there
on
like
purpose.
On purpose. Yeah. Yes. So it wasn't just, maybe a couple of them were accidents that she was hitting it, but she literally had to move her arm from here to here to hit the call light. And so it became a running joke, that can't leave Morgan alone for anything without her calling us, so she kept hitting the nurse call light, which even that in itself was pretty amazing. She couldn't tell him what she needed. I think, every time Tom and I would leave the room and leave her in there alone, I think it was just that she was so afraid of being alone.
I don't blame her.
She can't say anything. She can't even tell us, indicate what's going on. Everything was a guessing game, and it just, I tell you what, that broke my heart, trying to figure out what was wrong with her when we knew something was wrong, but no way of figuring it out. That is a pretty helpless feeling, trying to figure out what she needed and when she needed it. That still bugs me, because even today it's still, she can tell us a lot more.
You can pick up on a lot more.
I can
too.
pick up on everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but this charge nurse, oh good Lord, this lady during the day, we get float nurses. Like I said, for the most part, 99% of the staff there was amazing. My biggest issue was with administration and with the head charge nurse and stuff, but she would literally tell the float nurses, watch out for the mom and blah, 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 because she's such a blah, blah, blah. And so I called her out on it. I'm like, have you ever been in this situation? Has your daughter been laying in a bed fighting for her life and fighting to regain her life? Well, no. And I said, until you've walked in my shoes, why are you judging me so harshly? Why are you telling people this? Oh, I've never said that. I said, I heard you with my own ears. I came around the corner and I heard her telling this other nurse, she's a B. But once again, if I have an issue with staff, policy says
But you hated that policy book.
I have to go to administration. Yeah. So once again, Michelle got the policy book thrown at her. Well, I'm sorry, but if you are doing something wrong or being rude like that, I'm not going to go to administration so she can deny it and becomes a he said, she said. I'm just going to call you out on it right here, right now.
Right. Like an adult.
Like an adult. We're two adults. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
But there's more to come with her later. Okay. So early on in September, we learned Deacon Jack was coming. Now, you remember Deacon Jack?
Yep.
This was the priest from Chicago who told us about the guy from Boston, the deacon from Boston.
Yep.
And they finally figured out a time and he was going to come the end of September. So that was some pretty good news. But with that also came some strife at the facility. Because here we're bringing in this kind of like dignitary kind of person, right? Yeah. And it takes a little bit of planning and it takes a little bit of doing, and which means then that the bishop is going to be there. Things like this. This is a big deal.
Yep.
This is a big deal. So, we're just like low-key kind of people. Like, you know what? He's coming. We're going to do a healing service. I got some ladies bringing potluck stuff, and we're going to have a meal afterwards and just sit and visit. He can bless whoever he wants. This isn't just for Morgan. Like, anybody can come and be blessed by him.
Right.
Like, I hope he can give everyone a miracle. Right? Those are my prayers. Like, of course, I want Morgan to have a miracle, but maybe he can help everybody. So that kind of created another storm on the administrative side because, well, these people, you can hear them. You can hear it. All these people, they have lawyers. Now they're bringing this big guy and the bishop's going to be involved. And then the bishop's going to scrutinize what's going on and because the church owns the facility.
Right.
Right? Like,
if you're not doing anything wrong, you got nothing to worry about.
Got nothing to worry about if you're not doing anything wrong. So we were really excited. That was like the first week of September. We found out that he's coming at the end of September. Well, after church one day, we started telling our little church group, that, hey, he's coming. And so people are getting excited and it's spreading kind of all over the facility, as well as, some of the people in town were finding out and stuff. And, everybody was so excited. And then they wanted to hear our story of how this happened. Like, wow, how? So we kind of started doing a morning coffee club after Sunday church with our church family. And it was great. We'd have donuts and we'd have coffee and we'd all sit and visit. Sometimes we'd have pizza. And it just became Sunday morning family breakfast together, family lunch together. It was awesome. Just this big group of us all sitting there visiting. And I really look forward to those days. And we'd order up different donuts and pizza, pastas. I don't know. It was just fun. It was fun to sit out in the sunshine and break bread as a family and just be normal for a little bit. For as normal as you can be in a facility.
Right.
But that was such a blessing. We really looked forward to those little moments of normalcy, because we didn't have that. Nothing was normal in our life. You know, I loved sitting out in the meditation gardens with the water features with Morgan. At the end of the day, we just sit there and I could crochet or read. Morgan and I would listen to the waterfalls, and there's a spot where you could take a breath.
Right.
And just try and pretend that you were somewhere else, living your life a different way. Not necessarily somebody else's life, but just your own life a different way. You know, and you'd have time. I'd have time to make phone calls back to Tom, and we could visit and just talk about what happened for the day. You know, of course, and the hardest thing is life here at home never stop.
Right.
So we're still dealing with car repairs and breakdowns in the house and kids' sporting schedules and, you know, all these different things. And it just some days got overwhelming. I felt, and I know Tom definitely felt like I can't do it all. But you know you got to do it all, because who else is going to do it?
Right.
You know? And it was just that was hard. It was really hard for us, trying to do it all from 2 locations. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We love hearing from you guys, so keep the comments and the questions coming for us.
Yes. Love the questions. Please subscribe. Go to www.givemorgan.org or visit me at my real estate website, realtorcraigbertrand.com. And we always want your questions, comments, like, and share wherever you listen or watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.